Thanks for watching AM Northwest. Recently, we witnessed the single largest move in points on the Dow Jones average in a decade. So what does that mean for your retirement income? Here with important information, we welcome back financial planning and consulting specialist David Swanson. Good to see you again. What does it mean?
Well, it means that things are changing.
Right.
And is this going to be the new normal where we see these kinds of moves, or is this an aberration? And what I think is buckle down, because it's going to be more up and down like this. So we're going to see more moves like this in the market going forward.
So what is the goal of most retirees?
Boy, number one thing is to make sure that they have enough money for the rest of their life,
right.
Period. That's the one thing they want. And people don't want to be at risk. And so if you have a financial planner, your planner had better be right now doing one very simple thing, and that's making sure that you have enough money to do what you want to do. They should be reviewing all of your assets and seeing how best to make them work together. They should be reducing or eliminating things that are risky in your portfolio.
Right.
And you may have owned some stocks a few years ago, and those stocks may have accelerated in value so much that they're now such a greater part of your portfolio, a greater percentage, that you're really at too much risk. You have too much growth, even just by owning the same thing. And then the third thing, of course, it needs to be in writing. And if you don't have those things, if your advisor's not doing that, you need to find somebody that can help you.
That can help you. And you may be surprised at what you can find out. You may be able to retire even though you think you can't.
Exactly, right. And that's really what we strive to do. Is right in front of you, you may have all of the tools, all of the resources, but you just say, I'm just going to give it one more year. And I can probably count many people who said, I just want to give it one more year, and that turns to 5.
Yeah.
And then you're working, and you could be spending that time with your spouse when all along, right in front of you, everything was there. It just wasn't organized.
Right, it wasn't. So let's talk about what a fiduciary is
yes.
and what that means.
Well, you've got to have advice from someone who's a fiduciary. You just need to. And all independent advisors, which is what I am, we are fiduciaries by nature of our business. We've been so for 20-some years, ever since I opened my company, and I've been licensed to be an independent investment advisor. A fiduciary, first off, has a higher standard of care than most advisors. They must put all the fees that they charge you in writing and give them to you before you sign anything.
That's a big deal, to make sure that you know what you're paying for.
Would you want to know what you're paying for
Absolutely.
before you pay for it, or later?
Right.
Okay, so we're required to do that, and you need to have that. Second thing is that you have to put the best interests of the client in the forefront of any planning. So if there's any conflicts of interest, like commissions or other charges, or somehow the advisor is in part of the deal somewhere, you have to make sure that your client is absolutely at the forefront of the best part of this transaction. And that needs to be in writing as well. And if it's not, they're not a fiduciary.
And should you be able to call your fiduciary and just find, or call your investment banker and find out what it is you need to do at this time?
Yes.
I mean, you should be able to just make a single call, right?
You should make one phone call, and it really all is, it's kind of like this show. We have a lot of integrity. A lot of people enjoy your information. They get a lot of really important things about how they live their lives from this show. And so it's where you get your information from. It's who you believe. So if your advisor is not a fiduciary, you need to find one who is. And it's very simple. You just ask the advisor, are you a fiduciary? Will you put it in writing? Show me your standards of care. We do that for every client that we have. So.
What is the biggest mistake that people make when they see the Dow Jones drop like it did recently?
They overreact. So if you have a plan, a written plan, it's already built in of what the market can do and go down, and how you will access your money. If you have no plan and you're just reacting to what's going on in the market, you could end up finding yourself at a very, very bad position, because you're responding to very short-term objectives, when really your plan is to make sure you have money for 30 years,
right.
not for 30 days.
For the long haul.
Exactly. So moves in the market, if you have a good plan, shouldn't matter. But if you have too much money at risk, you could be in real trouble. And that's what we try to counsel people on. They come in and they see us and they say, wow, I haven't really done much with my stocks, but look, I've got 80% of my money in the stock market. Is this okay? Not if you want to retire, right. and the market goes down and you lose half your money. Where does that put you?
Right, absolutely. All right, you're going to stick around, because we've got some questions from our viewers. He's going to be back answering your retirement planning questions. Don't go away. Welcome back to AM Northwest. David Swanson from Swanson Financial is back to answer your questions. And today we're talking about keeping your retirement income safe when the market really starts to fluctuate. So we've got some questions from viewers. Let's go through them. First question is, called my advisor and found out he retired and transferred my accounts to someone else. They told me they would call me back after they looked at my file. Now it's been a week. Should I be worried?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only your whole life. So if this is a great opportunity to seek a second opinion and start out with someone who's a fiduciary and find someone that you trust, that you feel that you can talk to openly and honestly, and you wouldn't have any hesitation to calling them up at any time and asking a question. And if you don't have that rapport with your advisor, you should find one that you do.
Can an advisor do that? Just switch the accounts to another person without telling the client?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, advisors leave the business all the time, or they just decide they don't want to work with this client, or something happens. But most of the advisors are age 50 and over in this business, like 55%. And of that group, over half of that from 60 and over, so 25% of the people that are in this business are going to retire like any time. So,
right.
and there's very, very few young people coming into this business. We met my son last week.
Right.
He's going to be hopefully taking charge, and in a few years be able to really take control of what's going on. But that's the phenomenon. Younger people are replacing older people, but there's just not as many, and more people are retiring now than ever before.
Wow. The market has us worried, but our advisor says to stay the course. We're both 65 and have about 80% of our investments in the stock market. We like you from the show. Can you help us?
Okay. So we've had many of these phone calls, and yes, we can definitely help you. You have too much money in equity. You have too much risk in market. And the problem is if the market went down for a period of time, 30, 40%, like we did in 2008, and you wouldn't be able to go back to work to earn that money back. And that's the risk. If you're 40 or 50, you're not worried that you have 80% of your money. That still may be too much in the stock market, but you have time to earn that money back. But at the last years of your retirement, you have what you have, and you got to make sure that that is not at risk.
Sure. We are retired, and my advisor wants to buy bond mutual funds as interest rates seems to be on the rise. I'm skeptical at best. What are your thoughts about chasing interest rates?
Boy, it's like one of the worst things that you can possibly do. So if there's a sharp rise in interest rates, what happens is bond prices go down as interest rates go up.
Right.
So what bond managers try to do is they try to buy bonds with higher interest rate to attract more investors to come in. Well, they have to sell the old bonds at a loss. So the dollar price of the mutual fund goes down, but the interest rate goes up. So the question is what I'm receiving an income greater than what I'm losing in principal? And if you're confused about this at all, don't buy bond mutual funds.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just went right over the top of my head. I heard bonds and then what? Okay, so that means you use an expert.
Yeah, find somebody that feels good. But if you're anyone who's trying to sell you something, really be skeptical, because it has to fit into a plan. It's not about one mutual fund or one stock fund or one this or that. It's about how does that fit into where you want to go in the long run. And if you don't have that plan, don't start just picking pieces and hope they'll work together. You would never build a house without first measuring everything out and picking out all of the things and then putting it in.
Right. Next question. My wife and I have watched AM Northwest many times with you and Helen. We really like you. Can we set up a time to meet with you and discuss in person our finances? That's
absolutely fine. We have plenty of free workshops, but you can call and come and see us. Helen won't be there, but I will be.
Okay, and our last question. Now if you had some wine or treats or something, you let me know, I will show up. I recently spoke with a newly assigned advisor from the investment firm I had been using for years. I asked the young man if he was a fiduciary, and if he could explain to me what his fiduciary duties and responsibilities were to me. He said he would look into it and call me back. It's been over a week. Should I be concerned?
Boy, I like
Let me answer
one.
this for you. Yes, you should be very concerned.
Get it in writing, find a fiduciary, most of all find someone that you trust, and have fun with your retirement. It's supposed to be a good time, and it's not supposed to be stressful.
Right. All right, well, tell folks, if you'd like to find out more about Swanson Financial, give them a call, 503-603-9900. We'll put that information for you on our website at k2.com. David, thank you.
You're welcome.